At the beginning of the investigation, we set up video and audio to cover the areas where activity had been reported. Baseline readings were also taken. These include temperature, humidity, and EMF. Trigger objects were placed in areas to help interaction. What follows are the messages and descriptions of the images that our team reported sensing during the investigation. At Hopton Ghost Hunters, we do not use this as evidence, but in our experience, our clients have found this information to be very interesting. We began our investigation near the carousel, where we felt two children called Tim and Anne played on and around the carousel. A little boy called Ted was also reported near this area. Ted was described as being around 5 years old and wearing a Victorian-styled cap and playing with marbles. It was felt Ted had sadly died in great pain from consumption. As we continued our investigation, the spirit of a lady called Helen made herself known. Helen was described as being in her 20s and wearing a large floppy-brimmed hat and long flowing skirt. The images of Helen horrifically stabbing a man called Richie were seen. It was felt Richie had cheated on Helen with a lady called Catherine, so in a jealous rage she had stabbed him in the throat with a kitchen knife. It was felt Richie was a nice man, although a heavy drinker, who had just been out to buy or collect some books. We next moved around to the train station, where the spirit of a young girl called Lily Ann made herself known. Lily Ann was described as being around 12 years old and wearing a dress with white apron and having blonde curly hair. The name Molly was also mentioned here, but no further information was received. Next, we moved into the shop area. It was reported that Maud the mannequin gave some strange feelings to our sensitives. The feelings of sadness and having a stroke were mentioned, and a possible connection with a gypsy tarot card reader. Members of staff have often thought they have seen Maud move. After extensive research by Yesterday's World, Maud's origins still remain unknown. We have come across moving mannequins a few times. Often the maker or subject can leave a residual energy. Stare into her eyes. What do you see? We continued the investigation in the tea rooms, where a number of images were seen. One of which was a reverend wearing a long black coat and top hat and was giving a sermon. The image of a crowd of men watching boxing matches and children fighting were also seen. It was mentioned that men dressed in army uniforms had met here, were discussing the war, and a young girl called Anna was sensed, who it seemed was frantically searching for her parents after being separated from them. Our historians found that it was incredible what you could find under one roof. The range of entertainment was so varied. Slot machines, a 4-year-old child weighing 11 stone, wrestling dwarves, a cowboy and Indian show, and a live ammunition rifle range to name but a few. During World War II, the building was occupied by military equipment and troops. We concluded our investigation upstairs, where a grumpy man called Clarence made himself known. Clarence was a former owner with a strong connection with the building and its history. He was upset with what the building had become and how it was sold. It was thought that gambling on the horses and playing poker may have been behind the reason why the building was being sold. The staff reported hearing footsteps walking up and down this hallway, sometimes following and sometimes moving away. While researching the building's history, we found that in 1923, the Barron brothers, Clarence, George Jr. and Stanley, had inherited the building, the Palladium, now known as Yesterday's World. Could this be the grumpy spirit the team met upstairs? There are many rumours and myths surrounding the Barron family, like the building was won and lost in a card game. As much as this makes for an interesting story, there is nothing in history to prove and verify that this was the case. There are stories of alleged less authorised dealing, of bribery and corruption. However, the history does show they were a very close, loyal and hard-working family that pushed for greatness. Sadly, in 2006, the Barrons had hit financial hard times, and with old age the brothers decided it would be best to sell up. Of which they did, and to the company that is what we see today as Yesterday's World. It was felt that the upstairs would have been bedrooms and an office, and used by the family owners. As we continued upstairs, the images of a baby being placed inside a chest of drawers were seen. This baby was believed to be Lily Ann, a young spirit from the station area. The area of the shops in the back room, it was said, had a witchy feel to it. It was in this area that a beautiful young lady called Rosalie was present. She was described as being very happy. It was felt that in this area, showgirls would have changed before their performances. Dolly Parton and ropes were also mentioned in this area. Our historians found out that in 1955, David Bailey, the husband of Gloria, George Barron Jr.'s daughter, occupied space with the building and reintroduced the cowboy show. Could this explain the showgirls, ropes and Dolly Parton connection? During the entire investigation, a lady called Elizabeth followed us throughout. Elizabeth brought a strong smell of old-fashioned rose perfume. It was smelled often, but no further information was sensed. In conclusion, we had an interesting investigation with lots of noises heard, most of which we have put down to contamination from outside sources. We did, however, collect 2 possible odd noises, which we believe to be a piano key being played. In addition, we also have an anomaly of a vibration detector going off. Both of these will require further testing, but at the moment both of these incidents are unexplained, and therefore possibly paranormal.